guys, I'm Aussie Villain and welcome to my player attributes tutorial for Football Manager 2021. Now straight off the top, if you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe, ring the bell to not upload new episodes, and of course hit thumbs up if you find this video useful so that other people can help find it. Now what we're going to do today is just basically go through player attributes, a bit of a beginner's guide, and sort of help you just work out exactly what you need to do, what you need to look for player attributes. Now the first thing I would say is don't look, it's easy to get caught up on looking at all of them. The only attributes you need to look at are the ones that are sort of for the position that they play. So we'll use the example here of Socceroos legend, Mas Luongo. He is a... why is it making me do that? Game, come on. He is a useful midfield player, and all you really need to look at is the role that you want to play him in. Now, I'm typically playing in box-to-box, so I don't really have to click twice. And we can see as a box-to-box midfielder, he's not too bad. Now, you can click anywhere here. It'll bring up the position on the field, their star rating at it, and as I said, highlight the attributes. And they're the ones that you need to look at. So you can see defensively, he's not too good at marking, so that kind of hurts him. And then if you go all the way back to centre-back, jumping, reach, and marking start to hurt him a little bit more. But what you don't want to do is, I'll bring up another example here, is look at someone like Dunkley here and think, oh, this guy's rubbish. Because technically, he's not the best. That's true. But what he does have is the 3 key defensive stats are quite good. So you can kind of, in a way, ignore the rest of it. It doesn't really matter if he can't pass the ball, because if you're just playing him if you're not asking him to play as a ball player, he doesn't have to do that. So don't get caught up looking at attributes and saying, oh, he's not very good at these things, because flair, off the ball, vision, the ones that are actually single digits aren't the ones that he needs. So it's important to look at just the attributes that are required of the player for the position they play, not looking at the attributes overall, which sounds simple, but it's easy to get caught up looking at this guy and being like, oh, he's rubbish, because I did it when I first came in, and then I actually like, oh, wait a minute, no, he's quite a good defender. So that is just something that's easy to get caught up in that you really do want to avoid. Now, if we just go back to Luongo here, one other thing that you can do is look at attributes, the player's attributes, and just see, are they better suited to another position, or can they play another position? Particularly if you're in a club that doesn't have much money, a small squad, you need players to be versatile. Now, one that is always, not always, but a lot of the time a good option is central midfielders as fullbacks, attacking fullbacks. Now, Mas Luongo is a perfect example of this. If we look at as a right back, is it going to bring up the attributes for me? Let me see if I can go into training and bring up right back on attack. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so it's going to highlight the attributes for me here now. You can see there is no reason why he couldn't be retrained to play as a fullback, as an attacking fullback. And it's amazing how often central midfielders work as wingbacks or as attacking fullbacks. If you are short in a position, it's always worth having a look, looking at players' attributes and seeing, is there another position they could play? Now, strikers as wingers, wingers as strikers is another one that often works. Midfielders as defenders. Sometimes your big lumps of strikers as defenders can work. But I just find the most common one is central midfielders as attacking fullbacks. You can see he's perfect, or almost perfect anyway. So that is something that's definitely worth just going through your squad. As I said, particularly if you don't have much money to go and sign new players, go and have a look through your squad and see if there is some it is some players that you can retrain to play other positions. And you just saw how you would retrain them there. You go to individual training and go and do that in this particular individual training window. And since we're picking on Mas Luongo, we'll go and show the next thing here, which if you want to go to Coach's Report. Now, these here are the attributes that are visible. If you go to Coach's Report, it shows you the attributes that aren't quite so visible. You do want to be aware of these and know your players and know the pros and cons of each individual player. So you can see here, inability to put himself in the right position at the right time is a con. It's a bit of a negative, especially for a box-to-box midfielder. You really want them being in the right place at the right time. And has a competitive streak which can lead him to bending the rules. That is something that I don't think is actually a negative. But you will sometimes get cons of players that don't enjoy big matches. Sometimes they'll be inconsistent. All these things you can see in Mas's case, he's actually very consistent and enjoys big matches. What you want to do is try and put them in a position where they're going to accentuate their pros, but also try and hide their cons. So if you have an inconsistent player and he comes out and is having an absolute stinker at the start of a game, he's probably not going to improve. Sub him off. I'll see if we can find somebody else that has some different things here. No international experience. Marking is not a strong point. Tends to be peripheral figurant. So to me, they're not necessarily negatives. Let me see if I can find the sort of player I'm talking about. So here's one here in Kadeem Harris. It's amazing how often they're wingers. Doesn't enjoy big matches. So if you're playing the FA Cup final, Kadeem Harris may not be the guy you want on the field, whereas someone like Mas Luongo, who enjoys the big game, is going to be. Now, would this stop you from signing him? It might do. If you're a big club that plays big matches, you're going to want your big players, up for it, not hiding. So these are the sort of things that when you are signing players, or when you're picking teams for big games, that you just want to be aware of these things for your players, and just know exactly sort of what sort of player they are outside of just their actual ability on the field. Now, one other thing just to be aware of with the attributes is that some of them, they complement each other, and some of them will, I guess, hide other ones. So the big one is lack of pace, particularly for a defender. Now, one thing that will hide a lack of pace is if they have good positioning, good anticipation, that is going to mean that the lack of pace is going to be sort of less noticeable because they're going to be in the right position and heading there, so pace, they're going to always have a head start. So that can kind of hide the pace. So if you have a more senior player and you think, oh, they lack pace, depending on what position they are, if they do have good positioning, typically these will be more defensive players, your defensive midfielders, your centre-backs. If they have good positioning, and not saying that Aiden Flint particularly does, but if they have good positioning, good anticipation, then that's going to lead them to kind of already being in, it's going to hide the fact that they lack pace. So that is sort of two stats there that will hide a lack of pace. So that's just one example. But then there's other stats that then they really do complement each other. So for example, if you want a player that's good in the air, jumping reach, strength, aggression, bravery, heading ability, all these things, so they sort of mold together to create a player that's really, really good in the air. Jumping reach isn't fantastic without strength. Strength isn't great without jumping reach. Bravery and aggression are going to help as well to make sure they go and win the ball. So there's sort of different categories of, or different groups of attributes that clump together so that they then create a player that's really, really good at one specific thing. Now, another one, and again, these aren't necessarily the best examples of players, but if you're looking for someone who can dribble, obviously the dribbling attribute is important for that, but other things that will add to it are the things like pace, balance, agility, acceleration, and flair as well. They all make the dribbling attribute, they accentuate it. So someone who has, say, a 14 dribbling attribute, but has all the physicals there, the pace, agility, balance up in the green, sort of 16s, 17s, 18s, those are going to make his dribbling more effective. So that's, again, just another thing to be aware of attributes that sort of accentuate what you're looking for. And again, if we look at finishing, now again, this is a championship team, not the best examples, but finishing, obviously you want someone that's a good finisher, but the other attributes that you're going to want are, where are we here? Off the ball movement, so they're getting in good positions. Composure, so they're not going to panic when they get in front of goal. And again, anticipation, so that they're where they need to be. So these things are all going to add to someone being a good finisher. Likewise, you can see Callum Patterson is actually quite good in the air. He's got good jumping reach, good strength, obviously good heading. He's got, good determination as well, but bravery is good. So he has sort of the attributes that make him good in the air. So they clump together there to make him good, whereas he's not necessarily the best finisher. Composure, off the ball finishing, all 12s, 11s, means he's not necessarily the best finisher. But if he had sort of everything, if these other ones were, say, 15s, then the finishing attribute of 12 wouldn't be such a big deal. And the last one I want to kind of flag up as important, sort of generally speaking, is your creative players. Now, passing is obviously good, but that needs to be combined with vision as well. It needs to be combined with something like decision-making, again, composure on the ball. They are all going to go together to make a really, really good creative player. Passing itself is good, but it's not fantastic. Teamwork's a good one as well. But passing vision together, along with something like decisions and composure, they're all important to make a passer of the ball actually sort of a weapon when they get on the ball in the game. So there we go. I hope that was useful for you. If it was, make sure you hit thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new. There are obviously other tutorials on the channel, as well as some Let's Plays. The one we have going here with Sheffield Wednesday, and one in Northern Ireland with HW Rollers as well. So if you are new, you haven't seen those yet, go check them out. See if you enjoy watching me in action. If not, thank you for watching this one, and hopefully I will see you again. Take care.